Hello people, this is Mohit. In this tutorial we'll learn what exactly a div is, what a div tag is, and when and why do we use it. A div tag is really just a container. You can think of it as a box where you specify how wide, how tall you want it, what color inside you want it, and whether you need a border around it. Div tags are preferable to tables for CSS designers because they tend to size well. Let's check out one more definition, but before that let's check this image out. It has a banner, nav, main, side, footer, div tags. Okay, this definition says div literally means division. The div tag is used to divide a web page into different sections. These sections are boxes. We use the div tag to generate boxes on a web page, and then we use CSS to style these boxes. Alright, let's start creating one then. I'll say file, I'll say new, and then I'll choose a layout. I'll go with this one, 2 column fixed left sidebar, and I'll not disturb any of these values out here. Document type remains the same. Layout CSS add to head. Will not create a new file, or will not link it to an existing file. Say add to head, say create. Okay, I have chosen this point as the insertion point. I'll say insert, and then I'll say layout objects, and then I'll say div tag. I'll not change the default value, which is at insertion point. I'll not choose after start of tag or end of tag. I'll leave it as it is. I'll not type anything here or here. I'll click on new CSS rule, and I'll name it. I'll just call it green. I'll hit enter. I'll say OK. Okay. The moment I do that, you'll see out here it creates a dot green entry below the all rules, and you notice a pop-up box that says CSS rule definition for dot green opens up. First things first, I'll create a size for this dimensions. I'll create a perfect square. I'll say let's say 200 by 200, and say OK. And if you notice, in front of the class we have green auto-populating, and say OK. And there at insertion point we have a div tag called green, or a rule called green. See here, a dot green. This is my local site folder files. Now I'll click on the dot green rule once again. The same pop-up box opens. Now I am going to make certain changes, and you shall focus on the screen and see what happens as I make the changes. I'll change the font to Georgia, the size to 18, the color to dark green, say apply. Okay, I'll click on background. I'm not concerned with the background color because I want to place a background image. I'll click on the browse button, go to the relevant background image that I have in mind, say OK, OK again, and I want the image to repeat. I wanted to fill the div completely, so I'll say repeat, I'll say apply. You see that? So the font changes to dark green, and the background changes to a light green texture. It is a texture. Okay, and then I go back to box and create a float, and notice carefully what happens on the screen. I'll say apply. You see the text wraps itself, fills the space, and in doing so the division is floating on the left hand side, and the text wraps itself on the right hand side. Now you see the div is sitting closely touching this sidebar on the left hand side where it says link 1 2 3 4 etc etc. It's touching that. It's also touching the text, so I need to give it a margin 10 pixels is good enough. I'll say apply. Yes, I'm happy now. So also I see that the content for class green goes here is touching the border, or the, it's exactly flushing, the left hand side. It's in contact, so I'll need to create a padding which will create a space on the inside of the box. So I'll say apply, and you see it gets displaced from the left hand side edge. So it's not touching the edges anymore, nor is the box touching the edges on the outside. So guys, that's it. I'll say okay. I'm really happy with the div that I've created, the class div. Let's preview in Firefox, save changes. Yes, I'm happy with the name untitled too. There you are. We have created a class div called green. A class div can be repeated many times on the same page, whereas another kind of div, an ID div, can not be duplicated many times on the same page. It's unique. Alright guys, so you learned something, I hope, and enjoyed it as well. See you next time. Bye bye.